Hello and shalom, Messiah, Texas people. It's Friday, which means it's time for another 5-Minute Friday. This week's psalm is Psalm 39. So let's get into this. Verses 1 and 2 say this: To the choir master, to Yedutun, a psalm of David. I said, I will guard my ways that I may not sin with my tongue. I will guard my mouth with a muzzle so long as the wicked are in my presence. I was mute and silent. I held my peace to no avail, and my distress grew worse. So first, let's get the obvious question out of the way. Who's Yedutun? Why is this psalm written to this choir master Yedutun? Well, he was of the Levite family, of the family Merari. And he's mentioned here in Psalm 39. He's also mentioned twice more, Psalm 62 and Psalm 77. He's most likely the choir director at the time that David wrote this psalm. So verses 1 and 2 then go on to describe something that the brother of Yeshua, Yaakov, or James, has some things to say about as well. Guarding the tongue. David is clearly struggling in this psalm to remain silent in the midst of hearing false accusations and slander about himself from those who are opposed to him. Now, as we learn from numerous proverbs, there's wisdom in remaining silent at times. Fools wag their tongues with no concern over the ramifications of their words, but the wise carefully weigh their thoughts before speaking. As we'll see in the next several verses here, David's patience is only going to last so long. The rest of the psalm, verses 3 through 13, describe David letting his mouth finally speak in his defense against his enemies. Fortunately, though, David retains the wisdom not to respond directly to those enemies, but rather to pour out his heart to Adonai, who is more than capable of silencing the mouth of the enemies. Verses 3 through 6 say this: My heart became hot within me. As I mused, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue. O Adonai, make me know my end, and what is the measure of my days? Let me know how fleeting I am. Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. Selah. Surely a man goes about as a shadow. Surely for nothing they are in turmoil. Man heaps up wealth and does not know who will gather. So although David breaks his silence here, he does so in a way that still displays the wisdom that holding his tongue from responding to his accusers did. He directs his words to Adonai, but he recognizes and admits that man is but a vapor. Life is short, and we're here on this earth for merely a brief moment in time. What seems to us like an eternity is merely, in reality, a blink of the eye in light of Adonai's concept of time. David confesses that from Adonai's perspective, each of our lives is so fleeting and insignificant that it's astonishing that he even pays attention to us in the first place. But he does. In his great goodness, he's chosen to love us, to show genuine concern for us, to provide for us, and to protect us. And because David recognizes that although we're insignificantly small and unimportant in the grand scheme of things, yet Adonai in his goodness still chooses to care for us, the next several verses reflect David's surrender to Adonai's will. Verses 7 through 13 say, And now, O Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Do not make me the scorn of the fool. I am mute. I do not open my mouth. For it is you who have done it. Remove your stroke from me. I am spent by the hostility of your hand. When you discipline a man with rebukes for sin, you consume like a moth what is dear to him. Surely all mankind is a mere breath. Selah. Hear my prayer, O Adonai, and give ear to my cry. Hold not your peace at my tears, for I am a sojourner with you, a guest, like all my fathers. Look away from me that I may smile again before I depart and am no more. David starts this section by confessing that all that he can do is remain faithful and patiently await Adonai's deliverance. After all, everything is in his hands, so ultimately surrendering our expectations to his authority is not only wise, but entirely appropriate. He then reiterates that he will remain silent and allow Adonai to be his defense. This psalm is a model prayer for those of us who find ourselves in a position where others are talking about us, or spreading lies about us, or attempting to ruin our reputations, or just slandering us in general. How do you typically respond when you hear others talking poorly of you? Do you immediately jump to defending yourself? Well, that's generally the expected response. But here in Psalm 39, David behaves differently. The theme to this psalm is that if we are under the protection and covering of Adonai, we really have no need to defend ourselves. If he is our rock and our fortress, and if he is our shield and our defender, then why would we feel the need to attempt to defend ourselves when others speak poorly of us? Do we think that we can do a better job of defending ourselves than he can? The takeaway here from Psalm 39 is that if we are under his authority, we can rest in his sovereignty, knowing that he will defend the innocent. And if we truly are innocent, then he will cause justice to prevail. We can trust that he will orchestrate events in such a way that we will be exonerated of all slander. We simply need to remain silent and allow his will to unfold. Now that's easy to say, but incredibly difficult to do. But ultimately, he is far more qualified and capable of proving our innocence than we are. So when you find yourself in a position where you feel the need to defend yourself from false accusations or to respond to those who make negative comments about you, remember that the king you serve is more than capable of proving the claims against you to be false than you are. And the rest is in his goodness. I hope that brings encouragement to you today. Thanks for joining us for the 5 Minute Friday. See you next week.